Excuse me.
How are you?
If the events of the last few days are an indication of things to come in the weeks to come, I will be very happy, because I don't think that they will need much military support. I mean, they are already allowed in. The rebels have indicated that they would not hinder their presence, that they would not prevent them from doing their humanitarian work, and therefore that would lead me to believe that the need for a multinational force will be very, very much diminished.
The reaction in the field ranged from tears to fury that this had been said, that the crisis was totally over and the force could go home.
Even our own defense minister said, see, nobody would have believed it. Okay, 2 weeks ago we had all these refugees, and now the problem has been resolved because of the intervention of the multinational force. So I guess that's declaring victory.
To think that a group of refugees in Mugunga camp would think it's safe to leave because they're talking about a Canadian-led force just flies in the face of experience and reality. They'd seen already how ineffective a UN force had been in Rwanda.
When a lot of the refugees started turning around on their own, I think it was very convenient to say that this was a victory for us, that we had caused this, that because Canadian troops were on the way, they had heard this somehow in the jungle and turned around and headed home because of that. So it's politics.
You know, there really was no point at that time in staying in place. So we adopted the old military tradition of declaring victory and going home.
I think that the politicians had no other choice but to declare victory, because the Americans had pulled out, other countries were pulling out, and with them was going the firepower and the equipment that we would have needed, Canada would have needed to continue on with the mission.
The United States completely lost all interest in this process, and as the United States lost all interest, others certainly lost their interest in participating in any force that the United States was not part of. And it was like a balloon where the air just went out. There was a big fizzling sound, and the air had gone out, and that was the end of that whole exercise.
What I'm shocked about is the fact that essentially the intervention, the non-intervention, was a charade, and allowed for a situation to unfold whereby thousands of people died unnecessarily.
You know, there was not one shot, one gun used, and the people have moved back home. And we got praise from around the world for that. And but the goal was to help, to give them food, medication, and help them to return home. And it's exactly what happened.
It was clear that the Canadian initiative was an emasculated charade. And we had, frankly, other things to worry about. And our main concern was the refugees that were absent in what we euphemistically called the Bermuda Triangle of Zaire.
Our good intentions were just wasted, absolutely wasted. They had a very real problem that they were trying to deal with in the only way they could after we had ignored their cries for help when they needed it. We were going in after it was no longer needed. And we were going in offering to solve a problem that they had solved. I'm sorry. That was probably one of the most boneheaded incidents in Canadian diplomacy, as far as I'm concerned.